I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. The important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has. That is the important thing, you know? So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart.
Arnold Schwarzenegger took Trump's immigration stance and turned it into a joke on live TV. But it wasn't just a joke, it was a savage mic drop that hit Trump where it hurts the most. His ego. Want to see Trump's face go from confident to furious toddler in seconds. You don't want to miss this epic burn. Before we move on, I would like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Donald Trump has never been shy about his stance on immigration. In fact, it's practically his trademark. Tough talk, bigger walls, louder speeches. He built his political persona on the foundation of fighting illegal immigration, as he loves to repeat. But for a guy who thrives on pointing fingers and saying which people should or shouldn't belong, there's always been one glaring contradiction staring him and the rest of the world right in the face. And guess what? Arnold Schwarzenegger, a man who knows a thing or two about being an immigrant in America, decided to point it out. Not quietly, not politely, but on live television. Because if you're going to expose hypocrisy, why not make it primetime entertainment?
When you come to America, you're a guest. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. Whatsoever, give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better.
Here's the setup. Trump's entire image has long relied on him portraying himself as a strong man. To him, strength means shutting down borders, separating families, and throwing around terms like bad hombres with that smug little smirk of his. Policies like the infamous travel bans or the zero-tolerance approach that led to kids being kept in government detention centers became defining moments of his presidency. Whether you supported those moves or not, they sparked outrage and put him at odds with a very vocal portion of America. To Trump, though, all of this was just proof of his no-nonsense leadership style. But as we've seen time and time again, the guy loves to play to his base almost as much as he loves contradicting himself.
As an immigrant to this country, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Americans. President Trump sought to overturn the results of an election, and of a fair election. President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever. The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. Very aware of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. It was a night of rampage against the Jews carried out in 1938 by the Nazi equivalent of the Proud Boys.
And that's where Arnold comes in. Now, Schwarzenegger is not just Hollywood royalty or the Terminator, he's also an immigrant success story. He came to the US from Austria with a thick accent, big dreams about bodybuilding, and a work ethic that turned him into a global icon. When Arnold speaks about immigration, he doesn't just have theoretical opinions, he has lived experience, which automatically makes his perspective harder to dismiss. So when he sat across from Trump, knowing full well that Trump's wife Melania is also an immigrant, Arnold had the ultimate trump card in his back pocket. And Arnold being Arnold, he didn't hesitate to play it. Picture this, the cameras are rolling, the audience is watching, and Trump is seated there, probably thinking he's untouchable. Arnold, however, is calm. He's not yelling or waving his arms dramatically. He's delivering his point with the precise aim of a blockbuster punchline. He doesn't come off angry or flustered. He's just laying down the facts. And the fact in question, Trump's tough anti-immigration stance becomes a whole lot harder to take seriously when you remember that Melania Trump, the former First Lady, is an immigrant herself. Or, as Arnold might put it, the hypocrisy was literally sitting in Trump's lap the entire time.
You famously said that the Republican Party has a problem at the box office. I heard you equate the GOP with the Titanic. Explain.
The reason why I said it was because their policies were such that they were not really including everybody. So that you have everyone interested. Like, for instance, women, 1 million women left. And we were losing them because we were not addressing those issues. So I was telling them, I said, look, the way you're going, being so anti, healthcare reform and being so anti-environment and stuff like this, we are losing and we are dying at the box office.
Trump's most loyal supporters might argue that Melania is different or that her legal immigration sets her apart, but you'd better believe plenty of people saw through that double standard. It's not like Trump's policies discriminated based solely on paperwork. His infamous travel bans were aimed at majority Muslim nations and had nothing to do with whether or not someone had all their visas in order. Those bans stirred controversy on a global scale, with protests erupting at airports and backlash even from some Republicans. Critics argued that these policies weren't just harsh, they were straight up xenophobic. And yet here was Trump, whose very home life relied on the very immigrant narrative he seemed so eager to villainize. Arnold's delivery hit its target precisely because it highlighted that core contradiction. Through all Trump's chest-pounding and anti-immigration speeches, Arnold peeled back the curtain and said aloud what everyone already knew but hadn't quite framed so perfectly. It wasn't about Arnold trying to win an argument, it was about laying out the hypocrisy so clearly that even Trump couldn't talk his way out of it. So how did Trump react when the spotlight turned on him? Let's just say grace and self-awareness aren't exactly his strong suits, but we'll get into that spectacle in just a second. Imagine this. Arnold drops the bomb about Melania being an immigrant and Trump's face shifts faster than the time it takes him to misspell coffee. You could practically hear the crack of his ego snapping under the pressure. Live TV. Cameras zoomed in, no escape. It's the kind of moment you'd replay on a loop just to catch every detail of the meltdown. Let's set the stage. Arnold, cool as a cucumber, sits opposite Trump, who's likely smugly enjoying a moment of self-importance. This isn't exactly new for Trump. He's conditioned to believe every setting is his stage, every audience an adoring crowd waiting for his pearls of wisdom. Arnold, however, approaches the conversation with that signature directness that makes him impossible to ignore. His delivery, calm, clear, and precise, like he's laying down universal truths instead of stepping into a political fight. And then, with that sly confidence, he points out the contradiction so blatant, it's like a neon sign. Trump's hardline immigration rhetoric doesn't quite fit with the fact that his wife is an immigrant. The room didn't explode, but you could feel the collective "oh" vibrating in the air. The internet, of course, did what it does best. Turned the moment into a parade of memes and laughter. Late night hosts wasted no time. Jimmy Kimmel mocked Trump's reaction, calling it like watching a toddler throwing spaghetti at the wall because he didn't like dinner. You can picture it. Spaghetti everywhere, sauce dripping, Trump standing there furious that someone dared to correct him. Kimmel also joked about Trump needing more focus on diet, which isn't exactly subtle when you consider all the jokes aimed at his meal choices. And then Jamie Foxx entered the game. His impersonation of Trump was flawless, complete with exaggerated hand gestures, that infamous pout, and a spot-on impersonation of his voice. It didn't just go viral, it became a phenomenon. If a roast can be turned into a performance art piece, Fox nailed it. But the memes are what really sealed the deal. Social media exploded with images of Trump mid-meltdown, his reddened face next to captions like, "When the group project exposes you didn't do the work." One meme even showed a cartoon villain next to a Trump tantrum accompanied by the caption, "Even Skeletor handled criticism better." You couldn't scroll 2 posts without seeing another joke, another angle ripping Trump apart for the entire spectacle his reaction had become. And here's the kicker. While Trump tried to regain control, to throw out his usual blustering dismissals and redirects, it completely backfired. Instead of shutting down the conversation, every attempt he made added more fuel to the fire. The more he rambled, the more awkward he seemed, and the funnier Arnold looked by comparison. Arnold stayed unbothered, casually letting the storm roll past him, which only highlighted how ridiculous Trump's flailing was. It was like watching someone dig themselves into a deeper hole, while the other guy calmly folds their arms and watches with amusement. Comedy gold. This moment wasn't just about Arnold's calm execution or Trump's inability to take a hit. It was about how quickly hypocrisy crumbles when exposed under the right spotlight. The internet has a way of turning moments like this into cultural landmarks, and Trump's sputtering rage became the perfect cautionary tale. If you can't take the heat, maybe don't build your brand in the kitchen. So, what does this teach us about political discourse and the thinness of certain egos? Let's break that down next. Arnold's calm, matter-of-fact delivery was a masterclass in exposing hypocrisy without resorting to the theatrics Trump thrives on. By sticking to the facts, Arnold turned what could have been a debate into a moment of clarity. Humor and truth, when paired together, become a powerful tool, one that's hard to argue with, as Trump painfully learned. This wasn't just about calling out contradictions, it was about showing how effective discourse can dismantle even the loudest voices. If there's one takeaway, it's this: sometimes the best way to handle a fragile ego is to shine a mirror on it, no filter needed.